All right, let's jump right in. We usually think of payroll as, just another chore on the to-do list, something you just got to get done so you can get back to the real work of building your company. But honestly, for a fast-growing startup, that thinking is just, well, it's totally wrong. Today, we're going to look at this in a whole new light and see how payroll isn't just a task, it's the central operating system for your entire startup.
And here's why this matters so much, right now. A recent Gartner survey found that a whopping 75% of HR leaders say their managers are just completely overwhelmed. Now, if you're a founder, you know that feeling. You're juggling product, you're fundraising, you're hiring, and throwing a clunky payroll system on top of all that, it's not just an annoyance. It's like trying to run your whole company on a slow, buggy computer. It just grinds everything to a halt.
So here's the bottom line. The payroll platform you pick ends up touching everything. It hits your finances, your legal compliance, and maybe most importantly, your team's trust in you. If you make the wrong choice, you're creating compounding problems, little errors that just spiral out of control. But if you get it right, you create compounding leverage. You build a foundation that makes every other part of your business run smoother. Okay, so let's start with the most important mindset shift you can make, treating payroll like a central strategic decision. This isn't an afterthought you hand off to someone. It is the absolute foundation of your company's operational health. Let's dig into exactly why that is. And when you look at these points, you realize they're all connected, right? For most startups, payroll is the single biggest line item on the budget. When you get it right, you have squeaky clean financial reports that help you make way smarter decisions. But if you get it wrong, well, you're not just risking massive penalties from the IRS, you start chipping away at the most valuable thing you have, your team's confidence in you.
And that really gets to the human side of all this. You can have the best product in the world, the most incredible vision, but I promise you, the absolute fastest way to destroy morale and lose your best people is to mess up their paychecks. This isn't some small slip-up. It's a fundamental threat to your entire company culture.
I mean, look at this data from payrollwork.org. It's pretty sobering. A full 77% of workers, that's more than 3 out of every 4 people on your team, would struggle to pay their bills if their check was delayed by just 1 week. For almost half of them, it would be very difficult. This just shows in black and white that for your team, getting paid on time and correctly isn't a nice to have. It's absolutely everything.
And that really just hammers home the point, doesn't it? Your team is pouring all their time and energy into helping you build your dream. So in return, making sure they're paid right on the dot every single time, that's not just a business transaction, it's a moral obligation. It's the core of that mutual trust you need to build something that lasts.
So building on that idea of responsibility, let's talk about the next massive hurdle, the compliance maze. Because if you thought running payroll was tough 5 years ago, hoo boy. The regulatory world we live in today is a whole new level of complicated, especially if you're growing fast.
And a huge piece of this puzzle? Remote work. With about 22% of the U.S. workforce now remote or hybrid, you're not just dealing with one state's laws anymore. The second you hire that amazing engineer in another state, you're suddenly juggling different tax rates, different unemployment rules, and all sorts of local laws you've never even heard of.
And things are changing faster than ever. This slide is really just a snapshot. In 2025, you've got 5 more states with new pay transparency laws. By 2026, a whole new batch of states are rolling out mandatory paid family and medical leave. Trying to track all this yourself for every single place you have an employee, it's not going to happen. It's impossible to scale that way.
Okay, so we've laid out the problems, we know the stakes are high. Now let's talk solutions. How do you actually make the right call here? Well, it all comes down to having a really clear, strategic way to evaluate your options.
So let's start with the features. And in 2026, the bar is a lot higher than it used to be. Everything you see on the left, think of that as the absolute baseline. Automated tax filing, multi-state compliance, self-service for your employees, that's all non-negotiable now. The premium stuff on the right, like paying contractors overseas or having a dedicated HR expert, that might be what you need as you really start to scale up.
But here's the thing, features are only part of the puzzle. The real gut check comes down to these 5 pillars. Can the platform grow with you? Is it actually simple to use? Does it play nice with your other software? Can you get a real human to help when things go wrong? And is your data safe?
So let's talk about scalability for a second. As you grow, you could be dealing with tax rules in over 10,000 different local jurisdictions across the country. You need software that handles that automatically, because you don't want to become a tax expert in every single town you hire someone in, right? The last thing you want is to have to rip out your system and start over in 2 years because your first choice just couldn't keep up.
Next up, ease of use.
I mean, the most powerful platform on earth is totally useless if your team can't figure it out. The benchmark now for a great experience is getting fully set up and running your first payroll in 15 minutes or less. It should be that easy, period.
Integrations are also mission critical. Your payroll system doesn't live on an island. It has to talk to your accounting software, your time tracking tools, all of it. And the difference here is night and day. On one side, you have manual data entry, which means constant mistakes and wasted time. On the other, you have automated integrations, which means you have one single, reliable source of truth for your entire company.
Scalability, ease of use, integrations, support. They are all absolutely essential. But honestly, there's one pillar that stands above everything else. The one area where you simply cannot, under any circumstances, compromise. And that's data security. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important point. You have to build your company on solid ground. And that means security that is completely non-negotiable. We're talking about storing your employees' most sensitive info. Social security numbers, bank accounts, home addresses. A breach here isn't just a technical glitch. It's an existential threat to your company and its reputation.
If you need proof, just look at the numbers. According to IBM, the average cost of a single data breach for a company in the US is over $10 million. Let that sink in. For a startup, a hit like that, you don't recover. It's game over. And that's exactly why cutting corners on security is a risk no founder can ever afford to take.
So, what does real security actually look like? This isn't just marketing buzzwords. These are concrete technical standards you need to look for. Things like AES 256-bit encryption for your data, multi-factor authentication to stop hackers, and role-based controls so people only see the info they absolutely need to do their job. This is your essential security checklist. So we'll end with this one simple question. Choosing your payroll system isn't just about cutting checks. It's about deciding what kind of foundation you want to build your company on. Are you choosing a system that's going to create endless headaches, compliance nightmares, and broken trust, a compounding liability? Or are you choosing a system that builds trust, automates compliance, and frees you up to actually focus on growth, a compounding advantage? The choice is yours to make.